Hello.
We are here.
Hello.
We are live. Greetings, everyone. How's everyone doing today? I am the Nerdway, Steve, your host for today's mayhem. And I've brought along some friends so we can hash out which is better, Star Wars or Star Trek. It is the age-old question. People have died over this. There have been wars fought over this. Families have split over this. We're going to try not to split over this. We're going to try to come out on the other end still friends.
Indeed.
Speaking of friends, let's introduce my friend, Chris from Neon TARDIS. How you doing, bud?
Morning for duty, sir. Yeah, not too bad, man. It's going to be a laugh. You're looking forward to it. We had fun on the last stream we did, so
Yes.
let's do it again. And Wirren, if you're there, I'm watching you. I'm watching you in the chat.
Next up, we got Mono Drew. Drew, greetings.
Greetings.
And we got Sadako. It's good to have you on here.
I wouldn't miss this for the world.
Excellent. Excellent. So, I don't think there's nothing to do but to do it. So, let's jump into this thing, shall we?
Boom.
Here we are, guys. So, for everyone out there, here's how we're going to do this thing today. Actually, hold on a sec. Yeah, now you can see me. We got 4 tiers. We got Star Wars, Star Trek, both and neither. And we got 10 topics. Hopefully, we'll be able to put each of these in a Star Wars or Star Trek. If for some crazy reason we end up not being able to agree or we can't figure out which goes where, we're going to put it in both or neither. So we will see how this all turns out. After the 10 topics, we'll see which franchise has scored the most, and that will be our official, definitive winner. Until the next time someone brings stuff up like this, and there's another big fight.
Are we going through, comments on the poll? Because I know that the poll was on Twitter, and I know quite a few. We got a few comments on it. Should we go through them as well?
Now we'll do the polls. They're supposed to be for Sunday's show, but right. Steve keeps forgetting to remind me, so it's all his fault, really, when you think about it.
It is my fault.
Yeah, so that was kind of what kind of inspired this, wasn't it? But I was supposed to be running community polls, and I forgot to talk about them with the community on Sunday. But like I've said, it's not my fault. I mean, really, it's Steve's fault. And if it's not Steve's fault, then it's Drew's fault.
Yeah.
Let's
check out the chat. Let's check out the chat real quick. We got some people coming in. Baki, how you doing? Dune beats both in a nutshell. Well, Dune is cool.
Which version of Dune?
I would say the books. I'm leaving the movies aside. We'll just go with the books.
Cool.
I mean, never looked in the Foundation, but it's interesting. Yeah.
The Isaac Asimov series.
Isaac Asimov. I've never read Foundation.
I've really been recommended it. Apparently, it's quite a good, it's proper sci-fi. Used in a kind of anthropological way about discussing the destiny, the challenges of the pitfalls and promise of future technology and future, space exploration and colonialism, all that.
Yeah.
Just don't watch the show, from what I've heard. Stay well away from that.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything about that either.
All right.
All right, you guys ready to hash this out?
Let's go.
All right.
I think so.
All right, we're just gonna go down the row here, and we'll start with music. Both franchises have had some iconic music in the past. What do we think, guys? Who's got the better music?
I'm waiting. I'm waiting for someone to break the silence. I'm gonna.
All right. I will say this. This straight off, we're kind of at a tough one here because, in my opinion, two of the best composers of like film scores of all time have worked on both series. We've got, of course, John Williams for Star Wars,
Yep.
and we've got James Horner for Star
Mhm.
Trek. Like he's, I believe he did Wrath of Khan. He did some of the other ones as well. That's like some of the best soundtracks ever. So this one could be a bit of a toughie.
I'm gonna throw my lot in. Let's go for it. Let's kick off World War sci-fi. I'd be more tempted to go with Star Wars. You think kind of Duel of the Fates, Battle over Endor. The Tatooine theme. There's not their exact tracks. Okay, so don't at me. Star Trek has fantastic kind of music and scoring as well. But if I had to pick one, I'm going to try and avoid going down the both route. I personally would go with Star Wars. I think there's just, in my opinion, there's more tracks that bring out the scene for me. Whereas I think sometimes Star Trek kind of goes and uses the same kind of theme, not in a bad way, but like over and over a little bit. Maybe like First Contact is a great score, but you've got the same kind of beat running over throughout the film, and that's not a bad thing. But Star Wars, I think, sometimes is a bit more. They use their imagination. Well, they used to use their imagination. Exclude Power of One. Fuck me, but that's kind of my take on it.
I think I'm actually inclined to agree there because even like remember the prequels are kind of looked at a bit more fondly these days compared to the sequels, especially. But even back then, people who didn't like the prequels, a lot of them still rated the soundtrack pretty high. You got Duel of the Fates, you got Battle of the Heroes, and I think there's just a lot more universal appeal, and there's just a lot more like instant recognition in there, so iconic. So if I was to throw in as well, I'll go Star Wars, but just kind of edges out a little over.
I'm gonna go to Star Trek. I don't know why. I think it's just like Star Wars has a great score, but I think sometimes they've overused certain kind of beats of it over and over again. Whereas I think with Star Trek, there's a bit more variety and there's kind of a bit more, like certain films in the Star Trek series, I feel like just wouldn't be the same without the score. Wrath of Khan wouldn't be what it is without the score. First Contact, even Star Trek the Voyage Home, or I'm trying to think of another good example. I mean, it's mainly the films, I suppose. Yeah, they seem to kind of pull out the best stops when it comes to the films, in terms of the right theme. So yeah, I'm going to go with Star Trek on that. And the thing is, I don't want it to sound like I'm crapping on Star Wars and saying it's I feel bad even saying ranking one down over the other. I think Star Wars, its scores are brilliant, but I think if
they both are, aren't they? That's the great thing about this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with either one.
Exactly.
Although I think for me, for this round, I would have to give it to Star Wars because again, just for the recognition. I mean, in today's world, you could almost put. I'm not trying to compare the two, but you could almost put John Williams music into the classical music genre. I mean, it's classical music for today. It's closest thing we've got to a classical composer. And
I agree.
He not just Star Wars, but his entire catalog is legendary, John Williams. So I think with what he did with Star Wars and the music, I think we might have to give it to Star Wars this round.
Yeah.
Could put music in Star Wars.
Boom.
All right, something else, another topic I think we can get a little deeper into: weapons.
Star Wars.
Who's had the better weapons?
Lightsabers, bro. Come on.
Yeah, they're quite hard to beat.
It was hard to beat the Death Star.
Camera.
See, yeah, Star Wars has lightsabers, but that's pretty much it. I mean, Star
Yeah,
Trek.
but they've got everything Star Trek has got, plus lightsabers, plus a giant space ball of death.
Yeah, the Death Star, that's a pretty big, that's a big winner.
Exactly. DS9 isn't launching a big freaking laser, is it? Look, see, look at this.
Oh wait, wrong one. Sorry.
Steve's whipping his lightsaber out as well. This could get saucy.
That's the wrong one. That's the wrong one. No, I mean, they got, Star Trek has a lot of good weapons. I mean, the phaser is iconic. I mean, just and where else do you? Set to stun. Come on, I mean, set phasers to stun.
Yeah, but you just get handed a phaser. You have to craft a lightsaber or inherit one. There's lore, there's story behind lightsabers.
But not everybody can use a lightsaber. It's only for the
but that's their problem, isn't it?
You. I say more people should be armed with phasers, the better.
Yeah, particularly in the UK.
I think the phase kind of win me over with the disintegration thing. Yeah.
You can't do that with a lightsaber.
Exactly.
You just fuck them up and cut them in half.
And in today's Star Wars, with Disney Star Wars, lightsabers don't even do anything anymore. They just poke a hole in you. You go put a Band-Aid on, you're better.
In the better days, in the olden days, the good times, a long time ago in a franchise far, far away.
Before the dark times.
Ooh, careful with your wording there. That could go very wrong very quickly.
I suppose if we're talking about phasers as well, you could also expand it to like the phase rifle. I think that's just a very cool.
That's
piece of
badass.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's badass. Particularly in First Contact, where you got sexy Patrick Stewart.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, man. But Star Wars has got, okay, you can't like hold to shoot with blasters, but blasters are the same thing. They're just short burst phasers. I mean, Batlefs are pretty fucking awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, Batlefs are pretty fucking awesome, thinking about it. Bajoran's got anything, or have they just got surrender monkey poses? Is that their weapon?
Mostly bombs.
Mostly
bombs,
Cisco has his own like quantum torpedo launcher. I don't really think that kind of counts. He just like has a shoulder mounted one. He just,
Oh god! I don't suppose you guys remember in the UK like 10 years ago when they did a knife amnesty and someone handed in a batleth.
Oh,
and the newspaper described it as a decapitation weapon.
God bless the UK. You could, look where we are now. You've got young African kids running down the streets with batleths, Drew. Is this maybe a cause for both? Do we need a unilateral agreement? I mean, Drew's whipping his lightsaber out. I mean, I'm feeling a bit fruity with that, to be honest.
I to be honest, I prefer the idea of owning a phaser to a lightsaber. I just do. So I'm leaning towards Star Trek. I just
You're a little less likely to cut your arm off by accident, I suppose.
true.
Yeah.
I too would probably. I mean, I love me a good lightsaber, but I think Star Trek has better weapons.
I think at the very least they're explored a lot more and explained better in universe in Star Trek. I will give it that.
Mm-hmm.
There's like entire episodes and subplots devoted to like weapons in some episodes.
Yeah, but with lightsabers, you had just that 2 sentences, didn't you? A civil weapon for a civil age, etc., etc. Then you go into it, it's like, look, son, look at this. But yeah, I mean, I'll stick with Star Wars. I think Star Trek will still win the role, and I'm ready to take that L for the team. But lightsabers, man, they're awesome.
Well, then I think we'll throw it to the chat if there's anyone in the chat who wants to chime in and give us a hand. So if we can't get this thing tie broken, we will put it in the both column. I didn't think we were going to use the both column. I'm glad I put it there.
Haven't we got 3 for Star Trek?
Oh, I thought you were with Star Wars.
I'm with Star Wars, yeah. But if
I'm Star
are you with
Wars.
Star Wars?
I'm a Star
Yeah,
Trek.
So you're with Star Trek. Drew, you're with
Star Wars.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, well, fuck.
It's 2-2.
Shit.
So
We'll have to compare lightsabers. That's the only way we're going to win.
Well, it'll be like lightsaber versus blaster, and I'm not sure how that one's going to go. Well, phaser just.
I can see your Schwartz is as big as mine.
Now let's see how you handle it.
Dear, oh dear. May have to get that coin flip ready as well, Steve. The nuclear option. We'll leave it to fate.
yeah.
Or instead of that, do we just put it in both? If we can't get a decision from Chan in the next few seconds, it's up to you.
Have a tie, I think. Looks like it's
We'll give him a few seconds here. Come on.
I've changed my mind about music. It should be Star Trek.
Too late. All right. Bo.
I think that's fair. Yeah, I think that's fair.
All right. Next, I decided to divide this up into 2 different categories. Classic characters, which would be for Star Wars, anything pre-Disney, and for Star Trek, anything pre-JJ and Kurtzman.
Sounds good.
So, having set those boundaries, what do we think about the classic characters?
I'm thinking I've got to give the win to Star Trek, because with Star Trek you see like Kirk develop a lot in a way that maybe, like, I mean, I know you see Luke develop over the 3 movies. Let's discount the Last Jedi, but with Kirk you see him kind of develop from kind of young officer to old man, and I think you just see a far greater range of character growth. You see his kind of how he handles victories, how he handles defeats. The whole growth, the whole thing, like in the end of City on the Edge of Forever, where he has a Pyrrhic victory, he wins but he loses, and he's he takes a kind of a emotional blow to the heart from that. And it's the same in Star Trek 2, when Spock dies, obviously. I think there's a lot more. You see a lot more growth with the Star Trek characters. With Star Wars, I mean, they're kind of in a way larger than life, but the overstory is kind of it's a more kind of an operatic epic thing where they're not really that important to the. Well, I mean, they grow in the course of a greater story, if you know what I mean. Whereas Star Trek, I think it's if you get me, because I mean, Han Solo. I mean, I remember Red Letter Media saying, like, you can sum up Han Solo in quite a few words: rogue, scoundrel, that kind of thing. Whereas with Kirk, there's a lot more you can say about him, if you know what I mean. There's more. He's a bit more. There's more dimension, I think, to Kirk or to Picard or to Spock or any of them really.
Are we including? Sorry, Steve. Are we including, like, when we talk about classic characters? So are we talking TNG, DS9?
Yeah, and any Star Trek that came before the J.J. Abrams, Alex Kurtzman stuff. So from Enterprise on down.
Oh,
basically,
Star Trek then.
Yeah, basically from where no man has gone before to These Are the Voyages.
Yes, Star Trek then. Cisco will be my main point. Look at the development of his character between being lowly space station commander to quantum torpedo bombarding badass. It's Star Trek without a shadow of a doubt. You could debate maybe they had more properties going out than Star Wars did, but yeah, Star Trek for me.
Yeah, thing about thing about Star Wars is they do have very iconic characters, but as
True.
much as I love them, they are kind of icons. They're sort of archetypes. They're almost like images of characters, like as you said, larger than life. But in terms of actual development, well, with Star Trek, we've got over 20 seasons of development for different characters. We've got like multiple movies as well on top of that. Just pick one, whether it's like, original series, TNG, DS9, you can watch all the way through and like just track the changes and the development. And I think we're talking like actual character instead of like, the iconic images. Star Trek is there's just more character in there. It's like, it's almost unavoidable, just given the nature
Yeah.
of the franchise.
Are you saying we should have
I've
20
got
seasons of The Acolyte just to make sure there isn't any character work that we can?
Oh, I think we need to start another petition. Yeah.
I'm going to say something on that. I think you got a good point there. Like for me, Worf, like he was in 7 seasons of Next Generation. I feel like I saw Worf grow a lot more when he moved to Deep Space Nine. You actually saw.
Oh yeah.
I feel like that really expanded his character. I think. And
because Picard was selfish. Damn it, Picard was selfish.
Yeah, exactly.
He never liked Klingons anyway, did he?
Yeah.
All right. I can't argue with you guys. As much as I love Star Trek and the characters from Star Trek, I mean Star Wars. I love the characters from Star Wars. Star Trek, I think their characters just have a much greater wealth of backstory, of growth. Like I said, you can watch any character from the beginning of their series to the end, and you can just see everybody just grow and become more. And it's almost, I mean, it's sad when the series is over, because you hate to let them go. You hate to end this journey with them. Thank God we have DVD, so we can go back and do it again.
True.
But yes, Star Wars, the characters are very mythic. They're larger than life, and while you can still root for the character, it's hard to really see yourself as I mean Luke or Han or Leia, if that's your choice. Yeah. No judge. So I guess we'll give the classic characters to Star Trek. Yeah. Now, this might be a little more divisive. The reboot characters. This is everybody else now. What do we think of these guys?
Well, this is basically a choice of, do you want to have your hand cut off or your foot cut off?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
See, I know where I would put them personally, but I'm not gonna. That's just personal. We're here to battle it out.
I'm gonna.
Amy in chat. Amy in chat is throwing it all to the wolves now. Long live Star Wars. So we messed up there. Sorry, Amy.
Long live Star Wars. Yes.
I don't know. I mean, like Drew said, I mean, if you knew nothing about the stories and how bad they were, I'd maybe go with the newer Star Trek properties, because at least like the uniforms aren't too bad. You'd kind of think you were getting some decent Trek with Strange New World. I like those types of uniforms. You look at Section 31. If you didn't know what a shit show that was going to be, the costume design for the Empress or whatever her fucking name is, and it's not, you compare that to the Acolyte where it's just like BLM bullshit. I would, I'm going to try and not kind of abstain. I'd say Star Trek again. But if I knew what they were talking about, what the series was like, I would run a mile from both. So Star Trek just because.
I'm going to go with Star Wars simply on the strength of Rogue One and Jyn Erso. It's like she's the one new kind of Disney character they come up with I liked. I mean, I quite, I felt like the characters in The Force Awakens had potential, and then it just got, pissed up a wall, didn't it, in the sequels?
Well,
But I think So I'm going to go for Star Wars, controversially.
Okay, I kind of get what you're saying with Star Wars, because if I was to pick anything from the Disney era, it would be Rogue One. It actually has a decent cast of characters in it.
Yeah.
However, if we're talking, modern Star Trek, if that includes Picard season 3, it's kind of a cop out because it's just next gen characters with a few new ones. But me personally, I was one of those people that really loved season 3 and just thought it was like a decent end cap for the next gen. So on the strength of that season alone, I'm going to go with Star Trek.
Uh-oh.
Well, it's nice to see Shelby back as well.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't watch Picard, but everyone tells me season 3 is good, so maybe I'll have to break down and watch season 3.
You don't have to watch the other two at all.
Yeah,
it's like not necessary.
But if I had to, if I am choosing, I would probably go Star Trek, simply because I cannot stand anything Disney Star Wars. And I'm probably an outsider here, but that includes Rogue One. Just like
I'm not a fan of Rogue One either, if I'm honest.
But I know the J.J. Abrams Star Trek movies are probably the farthest thing from true Star Trek. But in the reboot, if we're just looking at the reboot stuff, I like those movies much more than I like the Star Wars sequels. I mean, the first new Star Trek movie, as a movie, isn't bad. Like Chris said before, if you don't know anything about the old characters, and this is your first introduction to this, it's not a bad intro. I mean, it's a little more actiony than I like to see a Star Trek show or movie, but put up against the Star Wars sequels, I think these movies are far and away better.
I think the 2009 Star Trek movie, it's a good action film. It's a good popcorn flick. I don't think I think it's nowhere near. It doesn't have the specialness of the original movies for me.
No
way.
Not really. But it's a good action flick, I suppose. Also, what you said about Picard, for me, I tried with Picard. I was looking forward to it because it was great to see. I thought it'd be great to see Picard back and 7 of 9. I kind of really wanted to see how she'd grown since Voyager. And by the time she arrived at the end of episode 4, I was just bored, and I thought, you know what, this is the event I was waiting for, and I'm just giving up on this show.
They should have been bringing Captain Shaw to the next level. Why they killed him off was the worst decision ever.
Mm-hmm.
Probably, yeah.
I must say, I'm mildly disappointed.
Yeah, I think you.
Sorry.
I think that was it. I think it was just. I think I found it too nihilistic. It kind of, it's like everything's kind of a dead end, and it's like, well, what's the point of the show, really? It just felt too nihilistic. Anyway, go ahead.
Oh no, the first 2 seasons of Picard, I must admit, I haven't really watched them because I was just put off instantly. But I have heard it's very much like that. I was just going to say, I was actually mildly disappointed with the topic being reboot characters, because from where I can see, it looked like robot characters to me on the square, and I was thinking, all right, we got to talk some droids.
We'll get to that a little bit later down the line there.
3PO versus Data.
Well, one of them's fully functional.
Oh my!
Spock versus R2-D2.
So what do we think, guys? Are we going Star Wars, Star Trek?
I'm Star Trek.
Trek.
I'm Star Wars. Star Wars.
I got to go Star Trek with this one. So it looks like we had 2 for Trek.
Sorry, Amy. Steve made me do it. It was under duress.
Yeah, get me in trouble. Thanks. All right, next we got the movies. So we're just the movies. Star Wars versus Star Trek. You got all the DVDs. Which one are you going to throw in on a Friday night because you got nothing else to watch?
Oh, that's hard.
Yeah, it's a hard one.
Oh, either could tempt me, really.
I do have a definitive stance for
Ooh.
this,
Do it.
but it's kind of just my like. I love them both, especially the Star Trek movies. But I'm gonna go with Star Wars, but purely because Star Wars stands on its own. It's like it's got its own universe, its own characters. I love the Trek movies a lot, but kind of reliant, especially on the series, and you get the most out of it having watched the series and knowing who these characters are. Star Wars kind of stands on its own and does a good job of it, at least original trilogy and prequel trilogy.
I'm going to go with Star Trek. I think there's just more variety there. Again, the Star Trek movies are very special to me. But certainly everything up until First Contact is special.
First Contact's an
I think there's
amazing
just kind of real
movie.
magic to those movies. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Let's check out the chat here. We got Amy again. She agrees with me about the rebooted Star Trek movies. They are
Honest
better
opinion.
than the Star Wars movies. The new Star Wars movie. And she says the original Star Wars movies, they rock. Can't argue with that.
I think for me, it's the Star Wars movies, just because they're a little bit more kind of imprinted on kind of my childhood. To be honest, kind of the OG trilogy. Yeah, just kind of the whole kind of scenes that kind of Lucas sets. As a kid, they were like ultra impressionable. You kind of Tatooine with the two moons, etc. Yeah, I think if I had to choose, I mean, like I said, if you could watch both over a weekend, which you wouldn't be able to, but you could give it a damn good go. But the OG trilogy is nice and compact, and you get a nice story from beginning to end that you don't have to bring the Lucas kind of prequel trilogy into. So I would say Star Wars, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna look at this as fair as possible. I mean, I love me both. I have every movie except the sequels on DVD. So at any point I can either put in Star Wars or Star Trek. This is a tough one for me because in a time I remember in a time where people were like, you're either Star Wars or Star Trek. I was both. I was that weird guy that liked both, and I never could understand why other people couldn't like both. There were some just some hardline people I grew up with. It was you were either one or the other, and so I guess when it comes to what I'm looking for, I mean, if I'm looking for a good just adventure movie, I'm going to throw in Star Wars. If I want a movie to sit down and get adventure plus maybe just a little bit of thought, got to think some things through, absolutely going to put in Star Trek. So, having said that, yeah, this is a toughie. I think Star Wars is going to take it. Star Wars is going to take it.
I think for me,
go ahead.
Right. I think what would make me decide to go for Star Trek over Star Wars is it goes back to the character. Why I think there's characters are kind of there's more development with the characters. I feel like there's something about the Star Trek movies, certainly that particular Khan to the Voyage Home was real kind of. It just felt that bit more kind of human and real. I mean, Star Wars is high fantasy, high octane. It's which is great, but I think there's just that edge of realness to Star Trek to me because of the character, the kind of character that's put into it. You feel kind of
oh yeah,
it just has a bit more of a real feel to me.
Yeah, I mean,
so I think Star Trek.
I mean, both Star Wars and Star Trek, it's like 1A, 1B, and then any day they can switch places as to which one's which. So I mean, it's a hard decision to put one before the other. But like, yeah, when it comes to just like Chris said, you get the OG trilogy, and you have an entire story told in 3 movies, and you can walk away happy. And
you have Jawas.
Jawas are always good.
Go TD. Well, we're not making much progress here, are we? We're supposed to be deciding which is better, and at the minute, all we've came to is, well, yeah, they're both great.
Well, we're working on that. So up next, we have the villains. Every good show's got to have villains, and both of these franchises have some of the best.
Star Wars. Darth Vader, the Emperor, Darth Maul. Just badass, just iconic. I don't think Star Trek has many iconic villains.
Khan. Come on,
One.
Goldie Cat.
I don't know. Vader versus the Cat. I don't think there's much contest in that, but
the Borg.
Koloth. What about the original series Klingons, like Koloth and Kor? Kor, I think it's got to be up there. I know he kind of turns good and decent.
But they're like races, I suppose, to a certain degree, aren't they? I mean, you can call villains. I don't know, just Darth Vader, man. Darth Vader just badass. I don't think there's anything that's really kind of came close to me, anyway. Just wrecking everything. Red lightsaber, bucket on his head, so we can't see properly. Mass destruction, brilliant.
In my opinion, probably the greatest. You could make an argument the greatest villain in all media is the Emperor, because the way he took over.
Asshole.
Yeah, the way he took over, manipulated the entire galaxy into a war to become the ultimate power, and ruled for 30 years. That's pretty cool. On the other hand, this is me being bloody back and forth again.
Yeah, man.
I think Star Trek's just got a damn good variety of villains, and especially when you do get into like Deep Space Nine, some of them get about as much development as some of our main heroes as well. Like especially when you get the Dominion into things. Now the Dominion are kind of mostly faceless, but say Wei Yun, their Volta representative, of course Dukat, and then depending on the day, either Dukat could be a hero or a villain, depending at what point you're watching it. I think it's just all very interesting. And then of course you got Khan, and then if we are talking races, you've got the Borg, which are, it's almost hard to describe them as like a race of multiples, because they're all a single consciousness in a way. So are they not weirdly just one giant villain?
Yeah,
but Borg are a bit of a cheat code, though, aren't they? Because they're invincible to most things. They know everything.
Well, isn't that the great thing about villains, though? I mean, they seem unbeatable. They seem like there's no way that you can, end them. That's what makes the heroes so great when they finally do show up and find a way.
But you look at newer Trek, and it's like the Dalek kind of situation in kind of New Who, where in series 1 you had one Dalek, and it was holy shit, this is terrifying. Then towards the end of New Who's, but here's 1 billion Daleks. And I feel Star Trek kind of went the same as like one Borg cube. Okay, yeah, this is. But then, you go to Picard and there's like fucking 50 cubes, and now they're our friends. Well, actually, that's true. They're not villains anymore. They're our friends. So.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd go that far.
Well, I am. I'm going as far as necessary.
I guess if we're counting.
Maybe you took.
Sorry, dude.
No. Okay, maybe you talked me into it. Maybe I'll go with Star Wars on this one.
I mean, Star Wars, in the end, the villain does win, Rey. So there's that, I suppose.
Rey Palpatine.
Be careful not to choke on your aspirations.
She's like the white Ironheart, isn't she? Just without the suit.
Stole everything. No one, just decided to steal the name Skywalker too.
Instead of "Hey Black people," it's "Hey Skywalkers." That's an actual line from Ironheart. Don't fucking come at me.
So, from what I understand here, guys, we're going to go Star Wars for the villains.
Star Wars for me.
Star Trek for me.
I'm going to vote both because I think, I can't really choose between Vader and Khan. So I'll go for both.
Oh, my. Oh, my.
But, I think that means Star Wars wins because, the voting record. It means I'm voting for the tie. So by default, it's going to go to Star Wars, I think.
What do you think, Steve? Did you give your impressions?
Well, I love, both series have great villains. You have Khan on Star Trek side, you have Vader on Star Wars. Gul Dukat, yes, the Borg, yes, they can be a single villain in my opinion. Depending on what day it is, maybe Q is the villain.
Q's a cheat code. Come on. Make him mortal. Give him a sword.
There you go.
Put him against Darth Maul. Let's see how long we go.
Well, don't forget, Q got punched by Cisco.
True.
Yeah, Q's a bitch.
All right. Star Wars gets the villains.
Now we're making progress.
I
Oh
can
yeah.
respect it.
So next we got the TV. Who did
No
the better?
contest.
Yeah,
The Acolyte.
Sorry.
The Acolyte.
All right.
I'm not saying it's better. I'm just shouting it out there.
Oh, I was gonna say because I might have to ban you. Yeah, when I made this up, I looked at it. I'm like, this might not be as bigly as contested as I think it should be, but maybe we can make an argument.
I got to be honest, I've never seen much of the TV Star Wars stuff.
You're not missing it.
Basically after Rise of Skywalker, I decided that's my demarcation point. I only really watched Rise of Skywalker just to see the thing wrapped up. I did hear people kind of recommending The Mandalorian, recommending it strongly, but I think I just never made the effort. I think Last Jedi killed it for me.
Yeah, the Mandalorian looked like it was going to try to be a decent show, and then every time someone would bring it up, Filoni and the rest of the crew kept saying, "Yeah, but everything leads back to the sequel trilogy." So no matter how badly fans who didn't like the Disney stuff wanted the Mandalorian to try to cause the entire franchise to change course, they were still of the mind that no matter what happens in the Mandalorian, everything ends with Rey Palpatine standing there with Luke Skywalker's lightsaber at the end.
I must admit, I did enjoy the first two seasons of The Mandalorian, and I get people's criticisms of it, especially in the second season, but I do kind of enjoy it. Although, very soon after season 2 aired, the whole Gina Carano thing happened, which kind of really soured me on watching more Disney stuff. And a lot of people have spoke highly of Andor. Some people have been saying it's the best critical thing that Disney have done in the Star Wars universe, but unfortunately I can't comment on that because I still haven't seen it yet. I've been a bit burned by the franchise, so I can't really comment on that. But if we're talking about Star Trek, I don't even think it's worth me saying why I would choose that. We have decades and decades of examples and material there.
Yeah. The TV stuff.
Yeah.
But the thing is that I'm biased because the only TV stuff I've seen is the Star Trek stuff. And it's. I've actually been on a bit of a kick lately. I've been rewatching some of the old TNG episodes. I recently rewatched Ensign Row. Actually, not Ensign Row. No, the second to the penultimate finale, preemptive strike, where Rogue actually goes rogue and joins the Dominion. No, not the Dominion. Sorry,
The Marquis.
The Marquis. That was it. Yeah. It was a really good episode. That I thought it was good stuff, and he really kind of. I like the character development there. So I'm kind of I'm based on my recent viewing, I'm more leaning towards Star Trek anyway.
Yeah. Every couple of years, I do just a big rewatch of the Star Trek franchise, and right now I'm in the middle of my DS9 rewatch, so
Nice.
cannot recommend that enough.
I'm actually thinking of I've actually got plans to maybe give Enterprise another look, actually, because for a while I would have kind of said that my cutoff point is when Voyager Endgame. That's kind of my cutoff point. But lately, I've just been catching some repeats on the Sci-Fi Channel. And they repeated some of the latest Enterprise episodes with Brent Spiner as kind of Noonien Soong's is his grandfather or something. And I watched it and actually got a bit hooked. I thought, there's some pretty good stuff here. It's going into the genetic, the humans and the genetically augmented humans and all that. I thought, I should give this another look. Really, give this another chance. Definitely.
It gets much better in the second half of Enterprise than the first. I was a bit put off when in the first season, but it does get better.
Yeah.
I mean, you can look at any of the Star Trek series, and the first season is just you just kind of hold your nose and push through it to get to season 2 and 3. I mean, as great as TNG was, the first season, and I would say some of the second season was just kind of meh.
Yeah. It takes a while to warm up, doesn't it? I mean, I would say the same personally for DS9.
It's a mixed bag, I think. There is some good stuff in the early seasons, but there's also bad stuff as well.
Yeah.
Apparently, there were a lot of fallouts behind the scenes during the making of the first season, because I think Gene Roddenberry was a bit of a control freak, and there were quite a few writers. Yeah, quite a few writers that submitted some pretty strong scripts, they thought, and they got watered down to crap like Justice and The Naked Now, and I thought, what the hell have they done with what I wrote? This is, actually, I think I've got it here. I think there's a part. Yeah. Wait a minute.
I'll say the only Star Trek series that does escape that curse is, of course, the original. That is just great from the start.
Yeah.
I am a huge Enterprise fan. I love the underdog, and I love that show from the start. I'm a big I'm a big Scott Bakula fan. So that was another plus for me to check that show out. And the first season and the second season was kind of, again, you just kind of had to plow through some episodes. But I think once they got into season 3 and they were going after the Xindi, and then season 4, they really stepped it up. And I really think, given the chance, they could have had a really, really great 3 more seasons to fill it out to 7 seasons like everybody else.
I think what put me off at first was I think I had high expectations of Enterprise. I thought, if it's a prequel series to the original series, could this mean we actually finally see first contact between the Klingons and the Federation, and the Klingons and the Federation and the Romulans? I thought there'd be a lot of potential, promising potential in it. I think the first episode kind of told me no, and they're not going that route. And I remember being disappointed by that. And I don't know, for some reason it didn't grip me. I think I found the pilot a bit hard to grasp. The whole temporal war business. It didn't really make sense to me, and I think that's where it lost me, really. Yeah,
that bit they probably could have lost, but other than that, I think it was a decent, it was a great show. I mean, once they kind of got rid of the whole temporal Cold War thing, and they were just going with Star Trek, we got a whole lot better. And I know they were talking, if it did go into season 5 and 6, that's when they're going to start the whole Romulan War and dealing with that issue. So that would have been fun to see.
There is still some
Why
good
did it get-
Romulan episodes in it, though.
Why did it get cancelled? I mean, like most of the Star Trek shows got their lifespan, didn't they? They were kind of they got the goodwill from Paramount. What happened with Enterprise? Was it just?
I think the powers that be just thought that they couldn't win with what they got, and so they just made the decision to cut and run, which is a huge mistake in my opinion.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to assume we're all going Star Trek for the TV.
Pretty much,
Yeah, there's no contact. There's no kind of contest whatsoever. Do you want to watch TOS or do you want to watch The Acolyte? I know what I'm going to be doing.
Just for
Feeling
someone
the
who's
power
never
of one.
okay, for someone who's never watched the Star Wars TV shows, is there anything that maybe did they ever do a good TV show? And I mean, even pre Acolyte or anything like that. I mean,
You could check
Clone Wars
out.
any good?
You could check out the first two seasons of The Mandalorian. I mean, it's not offensive.
Right.
So I mean, it's probably if you needed to watch something Disney Star Wars, it's probably, in my opinion, the best 2 seasons they got.
In my opinion, I do like the Clone Wars as well. It's definitely more children geared, but even so, there's still pretty good storytelling and even world building for the prequels. So I would recommend maybe checking that out if you're curious. Just you could probably skip the movie that starts it all off and just go straight into the show.
Yeah. All right, guys. Next up, we're going to have the expanded universe. Now, this is going to be books, games, comic books, anything that took the shows and the movies and characters and just pushed them out beyond the what the normies are going to sit around and watch. So,
sorry, when you mentioned computer games, you reminded me of a Nintendo version. I saw someone play a version of Star Trek V, the Nintendo version, and it's just so bad. And the guy's commenting says, "Look, you got all these kind of profile, pictures of there's Kirk's character, there's Scotty. Is like half of them look like they're constipated or something, or on the about to drop a captain's log or something."
Yeah, they weren't great, were they? They weren't great. The older Star Trek games. It did get some decent kind of point and clicks, didn't it? And Elite Force, that's a fantastic game. But in Star Wars, that's some great ones as well. Like kind of all kind of Jedi Knight series, Dark Forces, Mysteries of the Sith. Absolutely fantastic expansion, which brings in a strong, independent woman. And we don't get kind of the silliness with it. I'm not sure. The only thing I can't really kind of speak for is the books, because I know both camps have kind of But if I had to choose, probably I'd say Star Wars, because the games and stuff are just just better for me. I enjoy them more.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to say Star Wars and just take a very firm stance on that. I'm actually a big fan of the Star Wars games, and I'm actually a big fan of the expanded universe books. I've kind of been slowly building up a collection of the old EU for like the past 2 years. I read them quite regular. I even listen to the audiobooks quite regular, and there's just some great stuff in there which normies will just never experience for whatever reason. But from what I've heard, there's stuff like that in the Star Trek universe as well. But I can only speak to the one I'm actually experienced in, and that's I love the Star Wars EU. And as far as I'm concerned, Disney's biggest betrayal was decanonizing that, although they constantly steal from it.
Such an own goal.
Yeah.
Don't worry though, Mara Jade's coming back. It's gonna be great.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
I'm gonna go with Star Trek because it's I've not really read much of the expanded universe, but I have read the novelizations of the films, and I think on the strength of that, I find there is a lot more richness in the novelizations of Star Trek. So I'm going to go with Star Trek.
Okay. I have read both. I've read quite a bit of both of the Star Wars and Star Trek. On the back shelf there, I got oh my. There's all kinds of Star Trek and Star Wars books, and I enjoy both of them. I would even go as far as to say I think Star Trek has a deeper EU
Ooh.
than Star Wars, because they have, I mean, you have just whole series of novels just on TOS alone.
Yeah, but surely the expanded universe is not just the books, though, Steve.
Well, no, but I mean, like I said,
Yeah.
we have, I mean, if you add the games in, Star Wars probably has the best games. I mean, just
Yeah.
hands down. Comics,
Although a Star Trek Battlefront sounds awesome, to be fair. I don't know what you do with that, but
that would be great.
Oh, I think a Dominion War game would have been fantastic.
oh, yeah,
Or Wrath of Khan.
yeah,
Or Wrath of Khan.
on the Commodore 64.
There's some good games on the Commodore 64. They're
Oh
like-
yeah, first computer system was a Commodore 64, man. Yeah, no shade there whatsoever.
Yeah. Like Batman, I think was a great. The Batman movie was brilliant on the Commodore 64.
God bless Ocean.
God bless Ocean.
But yeah, I mean, my expanded universe was more books than anything else. Like because I did play some of the games. I got the Knights of the Old Republic games for the Xbox. I remember playing the old Jedi games for the PC. And but just in my opinion, I think Star Trek just has a better backstory, back catalog of books and stories that expand on the characters' continuing adventures.
What would you say is the best novelization they've done of the in Star Trek? I mean,
I never read any of the novelations of the movies. I've read the others. I've read the other just kind of other books.
Mhm.
The last one, the last series I read, was it? Let me just turn my. Oh, my glasses on. Hold on. That doesn't help at all.
oh, we lost our host. Where is he?
Look at me. I am your host now.
Didn't mean to do that.
Please stand by.
Yeah, hold on. Star Trek Destiny, if anyone knows anything about that.
Right.
That actually deals with the Borg and how they were created.
Nice.
I enjoyed that. So are we at an impasse here with the expanded universe with 2 Trek and 2 Wars?
I voted Trek.
Star Wars here.
Star Wars.
Knights of the
Star
Old
Trek.
Republic. Come on.
So I think those of both. Then that's a tie.
See, chat says maybe the tiebreaker should be lasting legacy
Ooh, good point.
or merch sales.
Ooh.
Go on then, Steve. Get that information for us.
Well, I know off the top of my head, Star Wars merch has kind of always outsold Star Trek merch, which is a shame, but typically there's just a much bigger market for it because of its appeal to like families and children.
Yeah.
There's some really cool Star Trek merch out there, but if we're just talking merch, pure merch sales, like even now it's took like a massive slump in the markets of both franchises. I think Star Wars still sells a bit more, especially if anything, original series focused, like original trilogy.
Yeah, Star Wars was always. I mean, that was almost like a two-front war when Star Wars came out. You had the movies, and then you had the toys. So, and Star Trek, for as great the shows were, they never really had a great toy line. It was as if there was any toy that they came out with was almost an afterthought. They were just kind of throwing it out there, like, yeah, just make some toys. We don't care. Whereas Lucas was like, he was really into, I want these toys this way, I want them this size, I want them just like this. This is the way they're going to be. And he really went after the toys.
Probably one of the smartest ideas he ever had was like going for the merchandise rights, because that's where they really made the money.
Yeah, considering, these movies, the Star Wars, they were going after the kids anyway, and kids love toys. So what better way to keep that name and that brand in everyone's mind when the movies aren't being around than to have the toys constantly having new waves of figures come out between movies. So if are we taking the merch sales as our tiebreaker? Because in that case, it'll probably go Star Wars.
I think Legacy is a complicated one as well, because unfortunately, I think both franchises have really suffered damage in the past decade.
Yeah.
I think it's a complicated one, but if we're talking merch, I think it probably goes to Star Wars.
I think you could probably salvage the. I don't know. I think you could probably salvage the Star Trek or Star Wars franchise, possibly. Like you got like a big universe there to play with, so you maybe could salvage it. But I mean, the legacy characters I don't think there's any way back with them. I think that they're done really. Maybe Star Trek's more salvageable. I don't know.
I think Star Trek's probably more salvageable because, to be honest, I find it a lot easier just the series I hate in Star Trek, just ignoring them and just focusing on the things I like. And if they made a new series and they made it good, I can easily just go straight to that. Star Wars, it's not as easy to do that because they kind of got the actors playing the characters themselves in on the desecration, so it can be a little hard to look at them the same way.
Yeah, Star Trek. I mean, you can take everything. Like I said, J.J. Abrams and Kurtzman consider that alternate reality, alternate universe, and then just come back behind Voyager and just continue that timeline and not even worry about, Discovery and Strange New Worlds. And that never really happened in this timeline. So Star Trek would definitely be the easier of the two to bring back to life.
Speaking of which, is Janeway getting her own show now? Catherine Janeway from Voyager, I mean. I heard rumors they were going to give her own show. Like do a kind of Picard type show with her, if you know what I mean.
Oh. I haven't heard anything.
I know
they were going to do, last time I heard, like a Star Trek Legacy with 7 of 9, and that got shit canned, didn't it? I don't know anything about Janeway. I think that will kind of fall flat on its ass, to be fair.
Yeah. I mean, she was a great character when she was in Voyager, but anything past that is just no one really cares about Janeway afterwards. I mean, the last you saw her was she was an admiral in First Contact.
Well, she's in that animated series, I think, Stephen, and she Lower Decks. I'm sure she's in that, or Prodigy. I can't remember which one it is, but she's got a recurring role in that.
I think she appeared in both, to be honest.
It doesn't change anything though. It would be shit.
Yeah. All right, so I guess we're going to put the expanded universe in the Star Wars.
Oh, I thought it was going for the tie because we both, you and me, both voted for Trek, and the other two guys here.
Yeah, it is tied. To be fair.
Okay, so we'll. Are we going to flip? Are we just going to go both, or you want to flip coin? What are we going to do?
I think
I'm willing to put it in both.
Yeah, I think it's probably going to have to be both because we're both kind of tied on the original question, and then when we came to Legacy, we're kind of leaning towards Star Trek, but then when we're going on merch, it's leaning towards Star Wars. So I think we're kind of stalemate either way.
Yeah.
Honestly, I didn't think we'd use the both at all, but here we are. Okay, next up, technology. Now we can talk droids and robots and all the good stuff.
I mean, Star Trek for technology. They're just, you've got, C-3PO, but Star Trek has got androids, as in like data, cloaking devices, so on and so forth, shielding, armor, transporters, holodecks. I don't think there's a lot of contest. Yeah. There's no real kind of contest, in my opinion.
Yeah, I've got to say, I've got to agree with you, Chris. There, it's not just like there's a lot more cooler stuff in there. It's similar to like the weapons. They actually explain them and go into at least the pseudo science of it a bit more. Like there's more of an in-universe exploration of like the tech in Star Trek, how it works and stuff. Star Wars, for the most part, like it's not that kind of franchise. They just kind of fly through it.
It's just there, yeah.
Yeah.
Tadaka, what do you think?
I'm just going to go with the crowd on this one. I think it's Star Trek. Yeah, you got the Borg. I mean, they're the technological masters of everything, aren't they?
Indeed.
All right, I can't argue with this.
That was a quick one.
Trek definitely has the upper hand on the tech. That brings us to our last topic: ships. This should excite some people.
It's got to be Star Trek. It's got to be Star Trek.
If it come down to what I would rather be traveling in or fly, I'm probably going to go with Star Trek because, Constitution, refit, Enterprise, just, in my opinion, possibly the greatest ship in all media.
Just the designs, even kind of the Klingon, Romulan, etc. They just need a bit more polish put into those designs, I think. Whereas, the Executor was just a big shape, and TIE fighters are just, just a fucking shape. It's just shape. I mean, you got like the Millennium Falcon and that, and I'll take that. But for every one Millennium Falcon, there's a, USS Voyager, there's the Defiant, there's the Enterprise, kind of, multiple kind of the letters. And just the design is just sleeker, sexier, nicer. Yeah, it's got to be Star Trek for me anyway.
The kind of thought out as well. I always get the feeling that each ship that kind of represents the people who are in it. Like Starfleet has its very own unique look. The Klingons do, the Romulans.
It seemed to be that way until you get to these. Like, the pictures I've seen from the newer TV series it just looks like that came from another series. Just make it look like that, but rubbish.
Yeah.
But I mean, there are some interesting stories aren't there, about them like kind of kit bashing for like the DS9 battles and stuff. And they didn't really know what to do, so they just thought, "Oh, fuck it, put these two ships together. That'll fucking do. Get that bad boy out."
Yeah, and apparently the Excelsior class ship has been in service for 200 years.
Yeah, big thick boy.
I'm not sure I can choose. Like, I love the X-Wings. I love the Enterprise. I love the Millennium Falcon, obviously, is brilliant. The Star Destroyer is fantastic. But then, at the same time, Enterprise, Reliant, the Klingon Bird of Prey, the Borg ship. They're both kind of the products of industrial light and magic, aren't they? And, you can't really go wrong with industrial light and magic, can you? It's a tough one, actually. I'm going to go for leaning toward a tie, really.
I mean, it's like Drew said before with different bits on Star Trek. Is they, like with the technology, for example, they put thought into it, and the ship designs for the most part were the same. Like, why would this work? Why should we put the little analog kind of satellite dish on the Enterprise A or whatever? Why should it go there? There was a reason and purpose for the most part. Whereas I think, again, it's not a bad thing because they weren't really the main objective of Star Wars. Star Wars just like, here's a ship. It looks big and, intimidating. But that's not what we really want you to focus on for the most part. You got your X-Wings and stuff for that, I suppose, but it was more about kind of character work. Yeah. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. I just,
There are really iconic ships in both series. Like Star Wars has some really recognizable ones, like all the Imperial and the Rebel ships. But the thing with the Star Trek universe, though, especially we're talking like the main ships of the series, like Enterprise or Voyager, we've explored them and seen enough of them. I can imagine like being there. I can imagine navigating through those corridors and where things are. It feels more real.
I agree.
When they first developed Next Generation, I said this the other day. I think Gene Roddenberry, I think he'd gone a bit too in the realms of kind of utopian Greenpeace stuff because he was apparently going to have an actual kind of dolphin aquarium was supposed to be on the show.
Yeah. It would turn it into Sequest DSV as opposed to TNG.
Indeed.
Sequest was awesome, by the way. Sequest DSV was fucking brilliant.
Probably should give it another watch. I think I vaguely remember it, but I need to give it another watch.
So yeah, I'm leaning towards Star Trek. I mean, Star Wars does have some iconic, with the X-Wing and the TIE Fighter and the Millennium Falcon stuff, but like I said, just so many ships coming from like the original series, the Next Generation, DS9. Just way too many to choose from, and like I said, they're so well thought out. I mean, yeah, you can imagine yourself just walking through the corridors of the Enterprise and just getting on a turbo lift, getting up to the finding engineering or something, and walking around there. And you can't do that in Star Wars. It's like, okay, I'm sitting in an X-Wing. Might as well just get in my car. And to be honest, I always kind of thought of my car as a shuttlecraft.
Well, that's it, isn't it? Even the runabouts, the Delta Flyer, even the kind of TOS little shuttle, the little box, kind of iconic. When you start thinking about it, you think about those little things as well.
They're basically the minivans of space, the shuttlecraft.
Don't make me turn the shuttlecraft around.
It'll take half an hour, but...
All right, so it looks like Star Trek gets the ships, and...
That's it.
Star Trek gets
victory.
The win.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well...
I think you could you could maybe say, I mean, when you're comparing kind of the classic material, Star Trek has the definitive advantage because there's just so much more content, because you're only really, comparing a couple of movies to, multiple TV series, multiple films. So you shouldn't feel too bad about it,
So, does anyone remember the movie Fanboys about the Star Wars fans who decide to they're going to go to try and get to see the an early preview of Phantom Menace, and then one of them decides to take a detour to Iowa just to pick a fight with some Trekkies.
Sounds about right, doesn't it?
I love that movie. It's that is the best Star Trek versus Star Wars movie anywhere. Well, guys, I'll be honest, I didn't think it was go this way. I mean, Star Wars usually ends up, being the clear winner in a lot of these things, and we have proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that they're all wrong.
I mean, this is fact, isn't it? This is science.
We have come up with the definitive winner of Star Wars versus Star Trek.
Which now the internet has to agree with now. Sorry, Drew.
No, I was just going to say, it's took a while, but that's it. Debate over. I think we've settled it for all the time now.
From now until the end of time, Star Trek is better than Star Wars. And if anybody says otherwise, they're a damn dirty liar.
They're liars. I think
The
when you
genre
break it
of
down,
past.
though, it kind of it changes, doesn't it? Because initially you'd think, yeah, Star Wars maybe has the advantage, but when you break these things down, actually, Star Trek's a bit of a dark horse because I think sometimes people can think it's a little bit more almost kind of bland compared to Star Wars. But when you break down the components, actually, Star Trek's got a really kind of lot of stuff going for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, like I said, even with those two categories in the both, you could easily put them in. Well, maybe not weapons, but expanded universe could go in Star Trek just as easily as Star Wars. And fit there nicely. The lies. I don't know. I don't think anyone's lying here. It's
fact.
Fact.
We've established.
Yeah, facts and logic.
I'm not a scientist, but I play one on YouTube. And the facts don't lie. So what do you think, guys? You all right with this Star Trek being the winner? Is this what you thought would happen, or you kind of like, well, I'm still a Star Wars fan at heart, and they're still better than Star Trek.
I honestly thought this could go either way, like from the very
Yeah.
beginning. But I'm a fan of like you. I'm a fan of both franchises, so it honestly doesn't like offend me in any way. I just think they're both great, but they serve different purposes. One
Yeah.
isn't necessarily the other. But honestly, if we did have to keep one did get raised a bit like the poll suggested. I think Star Trek's got a bit more meat on it and a bit more relevance.
Yeah. Yeah, I got to admit, I don't know how feasible it is, but it would be nice to live in a Star Trek world as opposed to Star Wars.
But maybe that's the thing about Star Wars makes it a bit more exciting. It's very chaotic. The balance of power doesn't stay kind of equal for very long,
True.
But some of the more interesting parts of Star Trek is when that utopia is challenged as well.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Got some more here. Dragonflash 43. I grew up with Star Wars, man. It has been established Star Trek is definitely better.
True. But like Drew said, it's all ultimately at the end of the day, it's all circumstantial about what you want to watch at the time, isn't it? If you want a couple of hours of just kind of just escapism and not to have to think too hard, but you still want the adventure and stuff, you've got the OG trilogy of Star Wars. If you want a little bit more than that, you've got so much from Star Trek to pick.
Mm-hmm. I know right now.
I was just
go ahead.
Yeah, no, just like I do find like sometimes revisiting the Next Generation stuff. Like sometimes there are kind of you can rediscover kind of neglected there, like like the other day I've been watching Preemptive Strike, or what was the episode? Redemption. Remember that two-parter where Worf had to kind of redeem himself?
Yeah, it's
and
Redemption.
The Klingon. I remember the big thing there was the Klingon Civil War was happening, and Picard had to kind of he couldn't get directly involved, but he had to kind of work out a plan where he could try and sabotage the war effort without getting directly involved. And I thought it was a very kind of very cleverly done, very clever writing was there, in terms of him thinking through how to maintain Starfleet principles whilst doing something effective.
And it might just be me and the way I'm looking at it, but I think Star Trek has a wider array of genre within Star Trek. I mean, you have TOS, great sci-fi. You have the Next Generation, which tried to stay, in my opinion, very close to what TOS was. DS9 was a great political thriller. I mean, you just had all kinds of great, backstabbing, and it was almost Game of Thrones before Game of Thrones. And Voyager is just, it's just action. It's the best. It's the closest action adventure series Star Trek has. There's not much thinking involved. They're just fighting aliens and trying to get home.
There is an element, though, sometimes, isn't there? They do try and kind of stay true to that formula.
Oh, I'm not saying they're not. There's not a Trek formula that everyone tries to stay close to, but I think within each individual show, they have their own unique take on it.
Yeah.
I agree.
Whereas Star Wars is just Star Wars.
Yeah, I think the problem I think with Star Wars is they defeated the Empire in Return of the Jedi, which is great, but it's like that's the end of the story. And I think the big problem with the sequel trilogy is they've had to kind of come out with they've had to somehow find ways to continue the story out of thin air, and it's just it doesn't resonate as well because there's no with Star Trek you can tell the after story of wow, but Star Wars you can't really. It's like the war was the story, if you know what I mean.
What, did the explanation of the Emperor somehow returned not satisfy you?
Not in the least. And the thing is, that's the thing, like, he got a great death scene in Return of the Jedi. They brought him back and then just gave him a lame death scene. Kind of a lame he dies because he's too stupid to not know that if he keeps firing lightning at the lightsabers, they're going to keep on killing him. It just, you've basically undone his great demise and given him a shit one instead. Ooh. Yeah. Yeah. That said, I will admit, what I was a bit impressed with Rise of Skywalker, the fact that it had to follow up such a shit show after The Last Jedi. And I thought, I do not envy someone who has to follow up that movie. And I thought, all things considered, given what they had to follow up, I thought they did a better job than we had any right to expect, maybe. You know what I mean? But that's it.
Yeah, it was just a hopeless situation.
Exactly.
Could have took it after Last Jedi.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember walking out of the Rise of Skywalker just with a huge headache and what did I just watch?
Same here. Last Jedi gave me a huge headache, definitely.
Oh yeah,
biggest headache I've ever had. I actually think it's probably the worst cinema experience I've ever had, to the point it actually put me off ever going to the cinema again. It was worse even than Batman and Robin, seriously.
Yeah, if it was between those two, Batman and Robin, every day of the week, I'll watch it gladly.
Oh, Batman and Robin has just way more value for entertainment, and at least there's comic book stuff in there.
Mm-hmm.
You can at least recognize.
Yeah.
So I think we had a pretty good day today, guys. I think we made a definitive list. Star Trek better than Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
We can carry on in X and wherever and fight about it later, and if anybody wants to. And
Lycon, I'm suspended.
Okay, well, once you're out of X jail, then you can come and join the fight.
Spread the gospel.
I've got about 5 days.
Yeah.
5 days.
In the meantime, we can put words in your mouth. We know how much you really love Star Wars. This whole thing.
Well, that was I had a lot of fun. It was a good time. I hope you guys had a good time too.
Oh yeah, man.
I want to thank the chat for coming in and helping out. For everyone watching, really appreciate you guys hanging out with us on a Thursday afternoon. It is Thursday, right? Yeah, Thursday afternoon, and watching a bunch of grown men talk about TV shows and movies. Chris, what do you got going on after this? Anything
Going to bed. That's what's going on after this. Nothing much. You can catch the stream that me and Steve did, our little prototype stream. Catch it on the channel. Other than that, Sunday, 8 p.m. UK, 3 p.m. EST, we're going to get in the gang together and we'll talk about the silliness of the week and maybe a bit of Fantastic Four. If anyone sees it, unless you guys want to roll it over to the next week, we'll make that decision later. Just neontardis.com. That's where all the updates are. Thanks.
Cool. Sadako, you other than being in jail, you got anything going on?
I've got a video coming up soon, but it's going to be one of those kind of dry political videos. I don't know if don't know if anyone would be really interested, but yeah, it's just about the Middle East stuff.
Or whether YouTube will allow it.
Hopefully they will. They'll probably tell me to tone it down a bit, probably. Yeah.
Drew, what you got cooking?
Oh, well, just streaming games as usual. I'll, unless I play a little bit more Super Mario, I'll next be on stream Sunday to play a bit of Star Wars, a bit of Stardew, and then I'll be hopping on the Neon TARDIS channel as normal.
Gotta admit, I watched some of that Super Mario 64 that you were playing. I was lurking. I didn't get into the chat, but because I was watching on my TV and I don't have chat on my TV, so.
No, it's fine. I'm actually hoping to finish that one very soon because I kind of want to maybe revisit the Uncharted series because it's been a little while.
Cool. I know I just put a video out yesterday about the MCU and rebooting it. Yeah, I guess the next thing I'm going to be doing is I might be catching the Fantastic Four tomorrow or Saturday. And so I'll probably make a video about that. If I don't, I will definitely be joining Chris and the rest of the crew on the Neon TARDIS on Sunday. So he can push all the buttons and I can just sit back and relax. But again, I want to thank everyone for joining. I want to thank you guys for taking time out of your busy schedules to hang out with me and do this thing.
Always a pleasure.
All right. Well, next, I don't know when the next live stream I'll do is, but whatever it is, if I need you guys, I'm going to call you up and hopefully you'll be available to come up next time.
Hell yeah.
Cool.
Having us.
All right. Well,
Star Trek 1.
Yes. Star Trek wins. Star Trek wins. All right, guys. We're going to call that a wrap. And that's all I got.
Peace.